Alright guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today. For this one, we are going to do another out and about video. So today I am in Bad Radkersburg, which is just over the border from Gornja Radgona in Slovenia, and this town happens to be home to Bevog Brauhaus, or Bevog Craft Pivovarna, however you want to call it. So this is a Slovenian brewery located just over the border in Austria. We've reviewed a good number of their beers here on the channel before, but yeah, the opportunity to come and have a little look at their brew pub and brewery I think was a little enticing, so we thought we would do it. So let's go in and do as we always do. We'll have a look around, we'll have a taste of some of the beers, and yeah, let's have fun. Let's do this. My first out and about video in Austria. Let's go. Alright guys, so yeah, the entrance to the tap room is right in here, but it's at the back of the brewery. When you drive past on the road, it looks really nice and really big actually, and it is, in fact. So yeah, when you come in down the side here, you can see they've got a bicycle fixing station. So if you ride here on your bike from Slovenia or whatever, you can easily fix your bike. But yeah, when you come in, you're greeted with this diagram of how the brewing process works, which is really cool actually. But yeah, I would take you around this way, but it's actually a bit more interesting to go this way. So yeah, you can see the Bevog symbol there, which is quite nice. But yeah, if you kind of also there, but yeah, if you come through here, they've got this lovely little tent thing, which is awesome. So yeah, hay bales and stuff like that, where you can kind of chill, lie down and have a beer. Yeah, this is pretty awesome, I have to say. I like this. I'm sure at night this will be pretty cool. We're here very early on because we've got places to be, but it's actually quite nice because it's really quiet at this point. But yeah, when you come out the back here, of course we are pretty much in the countryside, so you'll get the big tractors going past like that. But yeah, they've got their patio out the back, which is kind of cool. My cousin Ryan is already enjoying one of the export Helis beers. So yeah, they've got this lovely tent thing here, and the bar is just in there. But if you come along to this part here, you can see they have this big sign here. So yeah, Bevog Brauhaus Brewery and Tap Room. So yeah, there you can see a better view of it here too, which is quite nice. But yeah, freshly made beer, pretty awesome. So yeah, we'll go in and I'll just let you have a little look at the bar itself. But yeah, you can see, look at the Bevog chair, the Bevog throne. This is pretty cool. Yeah, there's one of the tap lists there, we'll look at that more closely later. But yeah, this is the bar here. So you can see some nice artwork and things all around, which is pretty cool. This is the door that I said we were going to come in earlier, but it was more interesting to go around there. You can see they're brewing through there. They've got some bottles and cans and things over there, and some taps. So yeah, we'll have a little look at these things a wee bit more closely in a second. But yeah, let's go and make some beer. Do you like the Helis, Ryan? Yeah, it's good. Yeah, nice. Okay, let's get started, guys. Alright guys, so we've got Primož behind the bar. So you can see we've got some of their classic beers and some new ones that I've not heard of. So yeah, Helis Export, 4.6%, the Dietz Golden Ale, TAC Paleo. This is one of their older ones. Kramer as well has been around for a good while. Lola, one of the sour beers. I've never tried a sour from Bevog actually, so that could be quite interesting. The Humphead Vrasa, a cold IPA. Buzz Double Dry Hop Hazy. I've not heard of this one either. Peacock Tarantula, that could be quite interesting. Ah, it's a Pilsner. Ah, okay, nice. Then Goes it. Ah, right, okay. But yeah, some interesting ones here. I think I like the Helis Export, I like the TAC and Kramer, so we're probably going to have to try little tasters of those. But yeah, pretty much, what's your favourite one?
Right in this moment, my favorite one is Lola.
Lola?
It's a sour beer with a raspberry silver bar.
Ah.
Sour, refreshing, not too strong. Perfect for this weather when it's hot.
Ah, nice. So we'll need to do a tasting of that one then, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, definitely.
100%.
All right, cool, nice. So yeah, guys, Just a little look on the taps here. They've got the cans too, which I think is pretty cool. As I say, I'm pretty sure I've reviewed Tak and Kramer on the channel before, but yeah, these other ones are new. But yeah, this is a really nice little bar, I have to say. Nearly fallen over the chair behind me, but there you go. Let's get started then on some beers. Alright guys, well, time for tasting number 1 then here at Bevog Brauhaus in Bad Radkersburg. So yeah, we're on the little tasting glasses just now, so little 100ml things, because there's quite a few interesting beers here that I'd like to try. So for beer number 1, we are going for their Export Helis. This is a beer that I've reviewed in a sit-down review for you on the channel, but I thought, you know, it's a nice way just to get started. But yeah, 4.6% Helis beer, this one. When it poured, it had about a finger of a frothy, I would say, perfect white head on it. You can see lovely pale golden straw colour. Pretty much transparent, kind of what you'd expect. I do like these little tasting glasses, by the way, but this is the glass they gave us for some water, because you know Scottish people are not made for the heat. But yeah, lovely glass here. But anyway, yeah, let's have a wee look at the aroma of this one and see what we get. So yeah, aroma wise, this one, it's got a lovely little bit, you know, it's got everything you expect from a Helis beer. It's got that lovely kind of bright green component, bit of a crisp backbone to it, and just a little teeny bit of fruitiness. So yeah, backbone for me, a little bit of bread crust. You can smell the crispness of the Pilsner malt in there. A little bit of white bread, very crisp as I say, but you've got some nice McVitie's digestive biscuity components in this one as well. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else we really need to say about the malty backbone of this. Maybe you get a little bit of a kind of crackery character out of it. But yeah, aroma-wise, it goes together very nicely. Yeah, on the hoppy side of things, little touch of earthiness, nice bright floral character, bit of a lighter grassiness there. But again, the hops are adding to the overall crisp vibe of this beer. On the fruity side of things, it's kind of what you'd expect. A little bit of a kind of sultana, you know, wee bit of a kind of pear almost, and then just a little bit of a kind of fresh green apple, you know, something like that going on in this one. But a very nice smelling Helis, this. I've had this 2 or 3 times before. I know I like this one, but still cool to try it fresh from the brewery. So let's have a taste of this one and see how we go. As I always say, take a bit of time to enjoy the aroma of these beers before you get stuck into them. But yeah, the Export Helis, 4.6% ABV. Slàinte, skål, cheers, na zdravie, prost. Yeah, that's very nice. I always remember this one being a little bit more sort of crackery and yeasty and things compared to some other beers that I've had before, in this style bracket I should say, and it still has that vibe, but it feels even crisper and even lighter when you try it at the brewery. So yeah, backbone, middle third of your palate, then you can feel that nice little bit of a sort of bread crusty backbone. There's a bit of that kind of Jacob's cream cracker sort of thing forming the base too, and on top of that you get a little bit of a kind of white bread. In the middle third of your palate there's a little bit of a McVitie's digestive-y sort of thing, and then further back you can feel the crispness of the Pilsner malt coming out. But like I say, on the back third of the palate with this one, you do get a significant little bit of yeastiness out of this one. So you've got those crackery, farmhousey aromas coming out of this one. So yeah, I like how this goes together. Yeah, nice beer from the malty side of things. On the hoppy side, it is pretty much what you'd expect. Yeah, on the hoppy side of things, a little bit earthy in the back corners of the palate. As you move further forward, you get a little bit of herbal character, and as you reach the front corners of the palate, it's a little bit more kind of floral and aromatic, but round the front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and grassy for sure, and the grassiness has a wee bit of zestiness too. Front third of your palate, it's got a wee bit of breadiness, crackery note in the base, then on top of that, it's got these typical fruity notes, a little bit of a peary note, a little bit of sultana, but again, I get quite a wee bit of green apple just behind the front tip of the tongue. But yeah, flavour-wise, very nice, exactly what you would expect of, you know, a Helis lager beer, but quite crisp at the same time, actually. Mouthfeel-wise, this one, light-bodied, crisp carbonation, very clean, still very clean tasting beer. This one, I've found that with the Slovenian beers, they're quite clean, although this is technically an Austrian beer. That's going to be one of the things in this video, Austria and Slovenian. But yeah, IBU wise, I think this one is maybe about 25, 30 IBUs. It feels a little bit more bitter. Malty base, as we say, is quite nice and quite smooth. There's a little touch of sweetness to it. And yeah, I think on the fruity side of things, that's just a little bit oily. But yeah, really cool to try this beer. This is one that I like from Bevog, and quite cool, as I say, to be able to try it on tap at the brewery. So that's tasting number 1 done for you. Let's go on with a few more. This is the Export Helis, 4.6% ABV. It is very, very nice. Catch you guys in just a second. Alright guys, so yeah, Primoz behind the bar was telling me a bit of the story behind the artwork behind the Bevog beers. So yeah, the story goes that Vasya took his beers to a local artist, and the artist decided he was going to make monsters for each of them. So these monsters that you see on the Bevog beers are just what came to the artist's mind when he tasted them. So yeah, you can see there is Kramer, Tack, the wheel of course refers to Bad Radkersburg, because Rad means like wheel in German. But there you can see the Dietz Golden Ale, the Ruden Black IPA, the Bayer Oatmeal Stout, and then the Ond Smoked Porter. I'm pretty sure we reviewed the Ond a number of years ago. But yeah, really nice little coasters here. I have to say, I really like these. So yeah, let's get on with a few more beer tasting. Alright guys, well, time for tasting number 2 then. So for the second one, we are going to have a little look at Tack, the Pale Ale. And it actually tells you a little bit about the beer on the back of these things too. So it says, Bevog Tack is as crazy as it looks. Driving the wheel of its hometown, it breaks new palate ground for all who have been waiting too long for great beer. Its caramelly malt base is loaded with hops, which provides a nice kick of freshness, fruitiness, and a lovable aftertaste. Tack's balance will make you run for more. So yeah, that is pretty cool. As we say, the wheel here refers to Bad Radkersburg. I think Rad means wheel in German, if I'm remembering correctly. My German is quite rusty, as I've found when we've been here in Austria. But yeah, so as you can see, Tack, this one comes in at 5.5%, by the way. It's a pale ale, a West Coast pale ale, I should point out. But yeah, you can see this one, when it poured, lovely finger of a frothy, I would have said cream coloured head, not perfect white. You can see not too much in the way of visible carbonation with this one, but there are a kind of few bubbles going up toward the bottom of the head there. This one's definitely got a slightly stronger yellow tint to it. Remember, the colour of your beer depends on the type of malts that you use, length of your wort boil, any barrel age you do, any adjuncts that you put in, of course, will affect that too. But when it comes to pale ales, it's generally just the type of malt and the length of your wort boil. But yeah, in terms of what you would expect from a West Coast pale ale, appearance of this one isn't too surprising. So let's have a wee look at the aroma and see what we've got with this one. Very, very nice. I mean, very old school smelling beer this. It just smells really good. I have to say, I miss the West Coast beers. It's all about the haze craze, the New Englands these days. But going back to kind of classic beers like this with that big West Coast biscuity, caramelly sort of thing, it is pretty awesome, I have to say. So yeah, and cool to try one of Bevog's classic beers on tap, as we said, because the Helis that we reviewed on the last one is quite a bit newer than this. So yeah, backbone of this beer then, absolutely. Little touch of bread crust to it. On top of that, you get some nice kind of brown wholemeal bread, absolutely, but then you get the sweet caramel, quite a lot of McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of character as well. Yeah, it gives you the fact that it leans toward that biscuity caramel side of things. That's typical of a West Coast pale ale. Absolutely, I really like that. I really enjoy the aroma of this one, I have to say. I could sit and sniff it all day, but we need to drink it. Yeah, on the hoppy side of things then, there's a little touch of earthiness to this one, but for me it's got quite a strong and kind of pungent hoppy sort of green character to it. You get that nice big floral aromaticity. Remember, West Coast IPAs and pale ales and stuff rely a little bit more on early addition hopping within the first hour of the wort boil. That gives you mainly bitterness. Late addition hopping and dry hopping are also used in West Coasters, but very heavily used in New Englands as well. So yeah, West Coasters have a bit more early addition hopping than their New England counterparts, that's for sure. So yeah, you get that nice big deep floral aromatic note out of this one. There's also a good little bit of grassiness in there. There's also a good bit of farm equipment going past, which is what you guys are probably hearing on this video. But yeah, lovely big deep green component to this one. Nice bright grassiness too. On the fruity side of things, this one for me has actually got quite a little bit. I do get a little bit of a kind of passion fruity, grapefruity sort of thing out of it, but this beer to me strikes me as being quite sort of melony leaning. Maybe it's got something like Styrian Wolf or something like that in it, one of the Slovenian hops, because it has got a good bit of that limey, melony character that we've seen in a good few other sort of Slovenian IPAs and things. So yeah, it's got quite a lemony, limey character to it. As I say, there's a wee touch of kind of passion fruity, stronger tropical fruit in there. But yeah, it smells very, very nice, this one. So yeah, let's have a taste of this and see how we go. So this is the TAC Pale Ale, 5.5% ABV here at Bevog Brauhaus. Slàinte skål, cheers, prost, na zdravie. Yeah, that's really nice. I remember this when I first tried Slovenian beers. The first thing that came to mind was that they were big and oily and fruity, and you get that straight away with this one. You get that big oily character out of it, which I really like. I mean, I like the creamy New Englands these days, but to go back to something that's nice and big and oily like this is awesome. So yeah, this has everything you'd want from a pale ale, but it's one of the more oily ones I've had in recent times for sure. Backbone of the beer, a little bit of a bread crusty sort of thing on the back of your on the base of your tongue. On top of that, definitely some of that brown wholemeal bready character. On the middle third of your palate, in the dead centre, you can feel that sweet caramelly note. As you move further out from that, it gets a little bit more McVitie's digestive biscuity like, and I think that goes together really, really nicely in this one. Yeah, this is really nice. It gives you everything you want from a pale ale. A pale ale is just meant to be a nice, light, drinkable beer, and I'm absolutely getting that from this one for sure. On the back third of the palate, it's definitely a wee bit more kind of yeasty and things like that. You do get a little bit of a taller brown bready note out of this one, and a little bit of a crackery character too. But yeah, absolutely a West Coaster. On the hoppy side of things, a little bit of earthiness in the back corners of the palate. As you move further forward, you get a nice little bit of a bright, slightly spicy floral aromatic note. Then round the front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and a wee bit more grassy and zesty. So yeah, I do like how that goes together. It gives you the proper West Coast bitterness. Front third of your palate, you've got that nice oily fruity character. Toward the back of the front third of your palate, it's a wee bit more, it is a little bit more sort of kind of grapefruity and things. You do get a wee bit of an oily passion fruit as you come forward, and maybe a little hint of a slightly dry apricot underneath. But as you move into the front half of that front third of your palate, it's definitely got that melony sort of limey character that I've noticed in a good number of Slovenian IPAs. I don't know, it could be a little bit of cashmere actually. I know that on the Roynik hop farm, Green Gold Brewing of course associated with them, they grow a hell of a lot of cashmere, so I know that cashmere is quite a popular hop among Slovenian brewers. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of that in here. But yeah, lovely pale ale this one. Mouthfeel wise, pretty much in the middle of the spectrum. A little bit heavier than some pale ales I've had though, because of that big oily character. Crisp carbonation, as I say, a good little bit of oiliness to the beer too. Maybe about 50, 60 IBUs, something like that. Not going to blow the head off you right enough. As we say, the malt base has a bit of sweetness to it, and you've also got that big oily fruity character. But yeah, that's a very, very nice pale ale, this one. Been a long time since I've had this. So yeah, the TAC Pale Ale, 5.5% ABV. That is tasting number 2 here at Bevog in Bad Radkersburg, Austria. Catch you guys in a second with the next one. Alright guys, so yeah, I thought this was pretty cool as well. They're obviously showing some local artwork here, so you can see there's the nice tree frog. I think it's that, it's not an armadillo, that's the one from Africa, that's pangolin, if I remember the name right, yeah. Nice bird as well. You've got the, I don't know if this is a meerkat or what, I'm forgetting all my animals, rabbit, the orangutan, yeah, snow leopard maybe, the turtle, little mouse guy, the lion, I think that's a trout, is it not? And then they've got the rhino, this is cool, but the artwork here is from Alexandra Viconia. Pretty nice, I have to say. I love this when local breweries put up some local artists' work. Pretty awesome. Alright guys, time for tasting number 3 then, and we're going to continue with some of the Bevog classics. So yeah, the next one we're going to have a little look at is Kramer. Oh, we've got a little bug. But yeah, this is Kramer, comes in at 6.5% ABV. It's an old school West Coast IPA, and all it says on the back is the hop bomb. So yeah, anyway, so as you can see, this beer has poured with a lovely finger of a frothy, once again I would say kind of cream ivory coloured head, but you can see this one's actually a little bit lighter than the tack was, which is quite surprising because, you know, it's a little bit heavier in alcohol, but it still has this nice kind of strong golden, pale golden straw type colour. But yeah, just a few bubbles sticking up toward, going up toward the bottom of the head there, but overall it looks very nice. You can see it crystal clear as well. In terms of what you would expect appearance wise from a West Coast IPA, nothing overly surprising about it actually. It looks pretty much as you would expect. So yeah, sometimes they can be a bit more amber, sometimes they can be nice and light and golden like this, but other than that I don't think we need to say anything about the appearance of this one. Let's do the aroma then. Oh yeah, you can smell straight away with this one. The hoppiness is just that little bit more intense. So remember, the pale ale and the IPA, these are related through their malt to hop ratio. So yeah, these beers very, very similar, but you know, just usually just a little bit stronger basically. But yeah, this is very, very nice. So straight away with this one, it's the hops that jump out of the glass at you, absolutely. But the backbone of this beer, a little bit of bread crust, some kind of dense brown bread in there, a little bit sweet actually. I'm not getting so much in the way of biscuit and caramel out of this. That's kind of covered up a little bit more by the green component of this beer. But yeah, a little bit of a biscuity character, as we say. A little bit of kind of stronger caramel for sure. And yeah, it's kind of everything you would expect from an old school West Coast IPA. Yeah, a little bit of bread crust, brown bread, teeny bit of sweet caramel, and a wee bit of that lighter biscuit. But like I say, the malty notes are not quite as obvious in this one as they were in the tack. But yeah, on the hoppy side of things, teeny bit of earthiness, but a very big, bright, spicy floral aromatic note in this one. Yeah, on the front of the nose you've got a lovely little bit of a light grassy sort of thing for sure. A little bit of zestiness too. On the fruity side of things, I don't think there's anything else we need to say about the green component of this one, but on the fruity side of things, this one is really nice. I'm getting a good little bit of orange out of this, but at the same time I'm getting a little bit of that kind of limey, slightly melony character coming out of this one too. So yeah, this one leans a bit more towards the orangey, limey side of things. There is a little touch of that kind of sort of mango-y, passion fruity type vibe to the beer as well, but I think that does take a bit of a back seat to the kind of mango, to the orangey and limey elements as well. But yeah, beautiful smelling beer this one. I'm curious to see whether this is going to be big and oily like the tack was. But let's get stuck into this one. Yeah, so the Kramer, 6.5% ABV. West Coast IPA, one of the classic beers here at Bevog Brauhaus. Slanja, Skål, Prost, Na zdravie. There we go. Yeah, that's really solid. Gives you everything you'd expect of the style. You can't ask for much more than that. Yeah, it goes together really, really nicely for sure. Yeah. Big oily beer this one, as I was kind of expecting. I don't find it quite as oily as the tack right enough, which is kind of interesting, but it's really nice and drinkable. So this is again, the flavour of this beer is quite similar to what you pick up in the Aroma actually. It matches very well. So the backbone of the malty side of this beer, a little bit sort of bread crusty, wee bit of brown bread on top of that. There's a little bit of a kind of crackery sort of thing too. But yeah, in the dead centre of your palate you can feel a wee bit of that kind of boozy caramel, but the brown sugary side of this beer really leans toward the biscuity side of things. So this IPA to me actually feels a little bit more boozy than it is. You have that sort of boozy, biscuity sort of thing, kind of similar in a way to like an IPL, something like that. You get a little bit of that booziness out of it, but the further you go into the aftertaste, it does kind of sweeten up a wee bit more. So yeah, kind of concentrated boozy sort of note to it in the middle of the palate, and a wee bit more of a kind of biscuity note further out on toward the edges of the palate. Toward the back, of that of your tongue, you've got a little bit more of a kind of brown bready, yeasty sort of thing coming out of this one, which I really like. On the hoppy side of things then, in the back corners of the palate there's definitely a wee bit of earthiness. As you come further forward it's a little bit herbal, and as you reach the front corners of the palate a little bit more kind of floral and aromatic, as we say, but the floral aromaticity comes out further into the aftertaste. Round the front curve of the tongue, definitely lighter and grassy and more zesty, this one, but I actually find the more that I drink of this beer, the slightly more oily the green component becomes, so that is quite nice with this one. On the fruity side then, yeah, a little bit of more passion fruity actually toward the back of the front third of your palate, but then yeah, as you move forward into the front half of that front third of your palate, more orangey. I get quite a little bit of orange out of this one, and there's a wee touch of a kind of limey note just behind the very front tip of the tongue. But this is a really nice, very kind of classic, old school West Coast IPA, this one. I really like this. Yeah, the Kramer, it's awesome. Mouthfeel wise then, just to round off this tasting, mouthfeel wise for me, this one, kind of pushing toward the top end, the mid-bodied. Carbonation has a nice degree of crispness to it. It's got a lovely clean mouthfeel, as we've seen in the Slovenian beers before, but a good little bit of oiliness too. Hoppy bitterness wise, I think this is maybe a 70, 80 IBU beer. It still has that classic West Coast bitterness which I want in this style. Good oily fruity notes and a little bit of a lighter sweetness to it. But yeah, I think we can leave it at that for this one. So yeah, this is the Kramer 6.5% ABV from Bevog Brauhaus. That is the end of tasting number 3. Catch you guys in just a second with the next one. So yeah guys, you can see some of the nice Bevog merchandise here. So yeah, a skeleton hand t-shirt, the bicycle one, the Bevog Brewery symbol, kind of a sort of classic long sleeve jumper hoodie type thing. Another one of the skull hand t-shirts, nice kind of simple hoodie as well. And yeah, I guess this is a Beer Vision t-shirt, but you've also got one of these nice bags behind this one too, which is pretty nice. So yeah, this is just some of the merchandise you can get here at Bevog Brauhaus. Pretty cool. Alright guys then, well, time for tasting number 4 here at Bevog, and we're on take number 5 or 6. Cousin was being an arsehole the first time, very loud machine the second time, I messed it up the third time, and then I coughed the other time, and something else happened, but my cousin, he likes it when this happens. He likes to laugh at me kind of fucking things up. So yeah, I can't blame him, it is kind of funny to be honest. But yeah, beer number 4 then should be quite interesting, because this is a style that I've never tried from Bevog before. So this one is another IPA, but it's on the hazy end of the spectrum. So yeah, a New England hazy, whatever you want to call it, IPA. This beer is called Buzz. It comes in at 5.7% ABV. So yeah, it should be quite nice. When it poured, it had a bit of finger of a frothy, I would say once again, cream coloured head. You can see that this beer has a lovely haze to it, quite an impressive level of haze for only 5.7% ABV. But remember, the level of haze in these beers depends on the oak content, wheat content, and to a degree the yeast as well. But yeah, appearance wise, nothing surprising about this one. There is a steady stream of small bubbles going up towards the bottom of the head there. But overall, it looks pretty nice, I have to say. So yeah, let's have a closer look at the aroma of this one and see what we get. Yeah, straight away with this one, it gives you kind of everything you'd expect. And as I've said to you, for me, there's 6 things to think about with a New England IPA. The kind of yeasty, farmhousey character, the kind of rye-leaning, grainy side of things. Those 2 are a bit more prominent in American-brewed New Englands, whereas you also have the oaty creaminess, the wheaty bitiness, the barley malt bread, and also the wheat, also the kind of sweet component of the beer, I should say, sorry. And those 4 components are a little bit more common in European New England IPAs. For me, most European New England IPAs are based on the kind of Trillium wheaty sort of things, or the Treehouse oaty type things. But yeah, for me, this one smells as if it's going to be a little bit wheaty and a little bit oaty at the same time. You get a nice little bit of wheaty bitiness in the back of the nose, but you can smell that oaty creaminess in there. But there's also that big sort of thick white bready character from the barley malt and also the wheat too. Doesn't show much of a sweet component, but then the lower ABV New England IPAs tend not to do that. They tend to be a little bit more kind of zippy and bitey and things. So yeah, I think that's what this one is going to do. This is going to be one of these slightly more light, zippy, bitey, drinkable New England IPAs. Yeah, aroma-wise, from the malty side of things, this is quite nice. And as I say, it leans toward that wheaty, zippy end of the spectrum. Don't think there's anything else we need to say about the malty side of this beer. I'm not really getting a sweetness out of this one. It really is more oaty, creamy, and wheaty, bitey. On the hoppy side of things, yeah, for me, the hoppy side of this beer is leaning towards quite a zesty, grassy side of things, but there is a more floral component to it as well. Remember, as I said earlier, New England IPAs are more reliant on late addition hops and dry hopping. So late addition hops within the last half hour of the wort boil, dry hopping after the wort boil is complete. West Coast IPAs also have early addition hops, which give them most of the bitterness. But yeah, that is why New England IPAs tend to be lighter in their bitterness, of course, or lower in their bitterness, I should say. So yeah, you got a nice big zesty, grassy component out of this one. Good little bit of floral note. You've also got a nice juicy mango, some apricot-y notes in there. Yeah, for me it's quite mango-y, a little bit of pineapple, a little bit of apricot, and just a wee touch of lime. I'm still getting a wee bit of that kind of limey note out of these beers. So again, I wonder, maybe a little bit of cash beer, I'm not sure. Yeah, melon, you know, a bit of Styrian Wolf could be there as well, but I don't know. I know that Reservoir Dogs love a bit of Styrian Wolf, but I'm not sure about Bevog right enough. And of course, here in Austria, there are hop producing regions as well. But yeah, this one smells really nice, quite an oaty. The more I smell of it, the more oaty and creamy it becomes. But let's have a taste of this one then and see how we go. So the Buzz New England IPA, 5.7% ABV, Slanget, Skull, Prost, Nazdravia. Yeah, so for me, again, really solid actually. It's actually very smooth and very creamy. That's the first impression I get from this one. It's a very nice sort of, yeah, it really is just a very nice kind of smooth, easy drinking one. This, it goes really nicely. It gets a big thumbs up from me. Yeah. So malty base then, you get a little bit of fresh bread crust in there, smooth sort of, yeah, kind of smooth. White bready sort of thing as well, and the white bread is quite thick. You can feel the wheat is thickening up the barley malt on this one too, for sure. In the back third of the palate, you can feel that white bready layer is taller, and you've got a bit of bitiness in there too, which I really do like. And then on top of all that, you're getting just a little bit of a crackery thing. You do get a little bit of the yeasty character, but then in the middle third of the palate, it's a bit more oaty and creamy. And yeah, I do like how that goes together, that nice oaty kind of creamy note in this beer. Like I said, this one doesn't really have a sweet component to it. I'm not getting any biscuity notes or any, you know, sort of Werther's butter candy, butterscotchy notes out of this. This is a very smooth, really oaty, creamy leaning New England IPA, this one. So yeah, I do like how this beer goes together in that sense. The malty base is really nicely done, just a thick, creamy New England IPA actually. Quite different, not quite as bold as some of the other beers we've had from Bevog in the past. This one's a little bit more subtle because, you know, the Tack and the Kramer were quite punchy beers. This one's a lot more kind of laid back almost in the way it goes about its business. So on the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, there's a little bit of earthiness there. As you move further forward, tiny bit herbal, and as you move forward you get a little bit of floral character, but I would say all of that is quite smooth. Round the front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy, and there is a wee bit of zestiness to the grassy character there. In the front third of the palate, the base is definitely oaty and creamy, and then on top of that you've got the nice juicy fruity notes. So toward the back of that front third of the palate, there's a little bit of a passion fruity note, but then as you move further forward, it certainly gets a little bit more kind of mango, like smooth and mangoey. There's a bit of apricot in there too. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a wee bit of, you know, this one reminds me of Idaho 7. I really wouldn't be surprised if it's that, because of that soft apricot and slightly papaya type note it has in the base. I really like that. As you come further forward, yeah, it's apricot, a little bit papaya and stuff. Yeah, that's really what sticks out to me in this one. There is a teeny little bit of a slightly limey note behind the front tip of the tongue where the fruits start to mix with the grassiness. But yeah, this is really quite nice actually. I like how this beer goes together. It's a big thumbs up from me. So on the mouthfeel side of things then, I think we've covered everything we need to say about the flavour. Mouthfeel wise, Yeah, top end and mid-bodied. The carbonation, very smooth in this one. It's very creamy New England IPA, this, as I said. It's a standard sort of 25-30 IBU beer, absolutely. That's standard for the style. Malt is, as we say, very, very smooth. Not really a sweet component to this one, in my opinion. But then you've just got a nice, juicy, kind of tropical, fruity character to this one. But there is that wee limey, citrusy thing on the end of this one. But yeah, that's really nice. My first New England IPA from Bevog Brauhaus, and I'm impressed with that. I like it. So let's leave it at that for this one, and we'll go on to our next tasting. Alright guys, so just a little look at some of the cans and things around here. This is kind of cool. You can buy a little Bevog gift set with a few different beers in here, which is kind of cool. So yeah, you've got Tak, Dietz, Kramer, Bayer and Ond. They're little 330s. But yeah, here you can see the different editions of Hager as well, the barley wine. Some of the other cans here, and of course they've got some of their bigger beers here as well. So yeah, this one, Extinction is Forever, a Nitro Chocolate Imperial Stout. That sounds pretty cool. With this one, again, Extinction is Forever, Humphead Rasa, a cold IPA. Then you have this one too, the Peacock Tarantula, a fruited goes with bergamot, kaffir, lime leaves and orange. Pretty cool. So then we've got the Rabbit, which is a New England Cottontail double dry hopped hazy IPA. Then of course we have this one, the cousin's favourite, Bevog Brauhaus Helis Export Special. Yeah, pretty awesome. So yeah, you can actually buy one of these Bevog signs as well for €16, which is pretty cool. They're also starting to do some sour beers now here as well. The Mosa Culture Collective, a Heuse style ale. So starting to play about with some lambic stuff, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, it tells you a little bit about this here in English as well. Oh, sorry, that's German. Both of them are German. So yeah, if you're a German speaker, you can pause that and have a little look. But yeah, they've got some lovely Bevog glasses here as well. Yeah, these are pretty awesome, I have to say. Yeah, the lager glass I really like. But yeah, they've got a cooking book. You can buy a Bevog patch as well. And a present box too. But yeah, they've got all of these beers in the fridge along with some different ginger beers and stuff like that. So yeah, this is one we haven't seen, the Totem. And these beers as well, the Mein Klang. This is a project with Freigeist Bierkultur from Germany. There you can see the Rudin. The Buzz New England IPA, that's one we're going to try a little bit later in this video. The Fruited Sour Ale, Dietz, Helis, and of course Tak, and you can get your Bevog fridge magnets too. So yeah, pretty cool actually. So that is another little segment showing you the different beers you can buy at the moment here in Bevog Brauhaus. We're here just at the very beginning of June 2022. Alright guys, so I'm joined now by Vasya, who is the main man here at Bevog Brauhaus. So Vasya, thank you for coming and saying hello, and we've got some beers to have a little taste of as well. Awesome. Thanks very much. Thank you. All right. So, yeah, Vasya, could you introduce the beer for us then?
Yeah. So this is our the latest beer from the Extinction series. It's cold IPA. So some would argue it's just an IPL, but it's a little bit different. We brewed it with some rice that we got from neighbor farmer. So it's locally grown rice in this beer. And the whole idea is to have a really crisp beer with really clean and hop-forward flavor and taste. In my eyes, how I feel this style, or the whole idea is that it is very crisp and easy to drink.
Nice.
So it's yeah, really like somewhere between lager and kind of IPA. So the hops really come through, and then you can really taste the hops. There are not a lot of esters from yeast. Actually, we didn't ferment in much higher temperature than normally with lagers. Some directions how to make cold IPA, they say that it must be warmer, but we did it a little bit in our own way. As I think it's in any case something new, and yeah. I was never really much of a fan of to be too much in a box of a style. However, I think it is good that there are styles that we understand what kind of beer you are getting on the table, but still there is always a little bit of playground, especially with new styles and that kind of beer.
That's it, yeah. Because, guys, this is actually, I don't know if I said that to you earlier when we were chatting, but this is the very first time I've tried a cold IPA. I've never had one before. So this should be quite interesting, I think, actually.
Yeah, it is a style that you can see almost everywhere already. Kind of starts to emerge, or will start to emerge everywhere, but yeah, it is pretty good.
So the question is, do you think this one will stick? Brett IPA's disappeared. Do you think the cold IPA is going to stick?
I'm not really sure how that will turn out. Maybe it is something that will stay for a bit longer. I don't think this will be another hazy IPA thing, or New England, or however you call it. But I think the style is cool, and it has the beer has a nice flavor and character to it, so I kind of like it.
Okay, awesome. Nice. Well, yeah, guys, so as you can see, it kind of does actually look pretty much like a lager. So nice finger of frothy, kind of perfect white heads. Yeah, it looks good. And I love these Bevog glasses actually as well. So yeah, we do the aroma first. Yeah. All right. So yeah, aroma. Yeah. You can smell the crispness out of that right away.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've had a good few rice lagers in Japan, and they're always very. You can always smell that nice big oily ricey character to it as well. So yeah, for me, like big oily rice, little bit of kind of biscuity note as well, and then it's got that big oil. I always find your beers are very oily. I love that big oily, hoppy, fruity thing. So yeah, it is really very much like a citrusy, hoppy character for me, like a lot of lime actually. I think,
Yeah.
about this one. Yeah.
It has also some kind of passion fruity thing going. It's brewed with Strata and Mosaic.
Ah, nice. Okay.
So Strata is one of my favorites. Kind of modern hops now. Okay, it's not that modern anymore or new, but still it's really really cool hop.
Okay.
And yeah, and some Mosaic. So it has this mix of citrusy and a bit of tropical, and then also a bit of kind of piney thing going.
Ah, okay.
And I think it's about 60 IBUs.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty bitter in the end, but really flavorful, and I mean it's absolutely easy to drink.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I like that actually. You can. The thing I was like I don't know with Slovenian beers. And again, we were chatting about this earlier. You know, Bevog, Austrian, Slovenian. You said you don't care anymore with that side of things, but yeah, I find this. I always find Slovenian beers are very oily and the fruity character, and I really like that. I think the fruits in Slovenian beers. I don't know if it's the water like that you get in Slovenia. I just find the Slovenian IPAs are always that a little bit more oily compared to other places.
Well, yeah, could be. I don't think it's water. I mean, we have water recipe for each beer is different.
Ah, okay.
So we have here water preparation. So we strip a lot of minerals from the water and then add whatever we want, whatever the profile of the water. For this beer, it is very light or very soft water, like we would take for lager. Our export, so there is not many salts in this, or brewing salts.
Ah, okay. Nice.
Because I wanted to be like really open and fresh.
Because I can see what you're going for with this one. Because you said earlier you really like the Helis beer.
Yeah, sure.
So I can see with this one, like you've got that nice kind of light crispness, but the more kind of rounded, oily hop character. I think that's quite nice. Yeah. So you said what would be your favourite hop to work with them? Is it Strata? Is it, or what would be your favourite?
Yeah, I mean it is like one of my favorites from like recent hops. So Idaho 7 is one of my. I really like it. And then there is good old Mosaic. So I also like Cascade.
Oh, okay.
Because it's old school. It's you just have to respect the
Oh, yeah.
grandfather.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, Cascade's got a bit of a special place for me as well. My local brewery, their one of their beers, a Cascade Czech Pilsner. It's very nice, very nice. Well, so yeah, this has turned into a little bit of a meet the brewer thing actually, which I quite like. It's quite cool when you get this opportunity on the brewery visit videos. Can I ask you then, what was your? Would you say you have like one beer that you tried that changed what you thought about beer?
Yeah, so in 2009 or 8, I was just in Belgium for one fair for some electronic equipment that my parents used to sell in their company. Now they are both retired, but I worked in this company and I was then in Brussels and I ordered beer and I got this wheat beer and first half of glass was really weird. And then I started to enjoy it, and then I started to love it. So I then wrote down what kind of beer was that. It was Hergarden, and yeah, I was then ordered that when I was in Brussels. And I came back, and then I started to buy this beer. Actually, there was one French shop in Slovenia where you could buy some of this Hergarden, and then I saw there are also other beers, and then I started to check also some other Belgian beer. Before was just for me, just a lager or whatever, and then it took my attention and beer, and then I started to. One day I was just Googled, hey, how beer is made. You know, we are here in the middle of a vineyard in a region. And you know, it's clear how wine is made here. I mean, everybody knows how wine is made, but for beer, many people doesn't know where it comes from. It's more like just something that comes from somewhere, from a brewery maybe, but no one really knows a lot how it's made. So I was just interested, hey, how beer is made in the first place. And I fear that it is absolutely interesting process. You have just few ingredients and yeast, and then you can make so many different flavors and so many different styles, and so that was kind of my story. I immediately knew I want to be a brewer. That's kind of weird, but it was like I knew it that day. I want to be a brewer.
Oh yeah, so it all just came to you kind of like that.
Yeah.
Oh right, it's interesting.
That's true story.
Yeah, it's interesting when you tell the story, because in the videos I do the history, and when you say it to me, it all kind of comes back actually about that. So when was it that you opened this brewery and the tap room? What year was that?
So we sold first kegs in 2012 in November. In December we didn't have any revenue, so we didn't sell anything, and then in January we started to sell our bottles, and that was then the start of what we are doing, because I knew that it would be very, very hard to fight for the taps in the bars. But if we bring just cases of beer in a bottle, then maybe people will take it.
No.
It's actually kind of hard to imagine. It is just 9 years ago, or let's call it 10 years ago. But the scene now is absolutely completely different. When we started, there was just one other brewery. There was some guys also already planning and starting the breweries, small craft breweries. But at that point, when you went to a bar, for instance in Ljubljana or Vienna, it was really hard to explain what you have here in this bottle. Why is it so different than normal beer? Different color, different flavor, different textures, maybe more ABV and so on. So, and the price was higher. So, everything was super hard to explain in these surroundings. But my idea was always to be on that Europe or world is our market. So this is kind of my concept of how we started.
Yeah, oh nice. Because I mean, this is the thing. I think you guys were the first Slovenian brewery that I heard of, other than Pelletson. So Pelletson was the beer I found.
Yeah, Pelletson.
I just found a bottle of that in Edinburgh randomly. But yeah, I think it's quite. I think your story is quite interesting. You know, really struggled to get permits in Slovenia. You came over the border, and I heard it was like 2 weeks for you to get the permit to actually brew here. Is it something like that?
Yeah, it's kind of in that lines. So yeah, it was really hard for me to get the license to build a brewery. It is a little bit of how to call it, unfortunate situation because you have these local governments or hospital, and there was the first complication, and then there was also a very new law that you need a very special document to make beverage. It's a long story.
Oh yeah.
But then when I realized it will take maybe some years to get this license, then I said, okay, the world is open. We should be open to the world, and I said, hey, let's see what is here in Austria, just over the border. And it seemed like it's super easy, and then we made a whole project for the building and for the brewery, and then we got a building permit in 4 weeks.
Oh, nice.
So that was really cool and easy, and so
Nice.
yeah, now we are here just over the Austria,
Yeah.
over the border.
Yeah, exactly. So, guys, they're at Bevog now. You said it's about 600,000 litres earlier, 6,000 hectolitres?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. So yeah, Bevog have come a long way, and I'm very conscious that I'm taking up Vasya's time because brewers are always very busy. So to kind of round off, Vasya, if people come and visit you here, what beer would you say is like the signature of Bevog Brewery? If they have to try one, what would you say? Or two, if you struggle.
I mean, that's really hard. You know, and why I started the brewery, it's because of the variety of what you can decide. We have here so many different people coming to the brewery. Still, like, I'm just drinking wine, and these kind of stories are still alive here because we are pretty much in a pretty rural area, and you know, Austria is very traditional on lagers. It is hard to say that Slovenia have a really big history in beer or whatever, so we are still educating people, and that's why in the first place I wanted to have a tap room here. So we always try to explain different kinds of beer to our customers. However, our best seller is our pale ale still, so it's, I think, very balanced beer. You have a little bit of maltiness, you have some hops, dry hops, or you have some fresh fruits. But it's not like over the edge of anything. I think it's just a great, very well balanced pale ale. That is maybe one of the first, I would say. You know, I like to drink our Helis. Actually, it's export. We just call it Helis. Otherwise, it's more in a export style. A little bit more bitter, more on the hops side of the Bavarian kind of beer. Yeah, and then we always have something new, like this one. Then we have also Gosa with coffee and lime leaves that I grew in my living room. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So and it's also with bergamot and some orange zest.
Ah, that's cool.
So we always kind of it is really hard to pick just one. But
Pick one, yeah. I have to admit, I liked, out of the ones I've tried so far, Tack. I was surprised. Tack, the pale ale, Tack was a little bit more. I thought it was a bit more malt. It felt a little bit more malty than Kramer actually as well. But I like Tack and Kramer. For me, if I was to pick, I would say try Tack and then Kramer. I think the West Coast, your old school West Coast ones, I really like those. But I'm at that point just now. I miss the West Coasts. I got to try my first New England from you as well, the Buzz, which I really like that, the nice kind of oaty smoothness. But I think that's a good. I would go with Tack as well. I think I would go with
yeah,
Tack.
I know. If you're mentioning the West Coast and now the hazy, we haven't brewed hazy for 3 years. That it was already very popular. It seems to me a little bit harsh sometimes, the style. And then I realized, hey, maybe we can do it in that way, and then we were starting to play around with the hazy beer, and then I think the Buzz is really nice and easy to drink, and it doesn't have some hop burn or whatever. It's just very nice and very flavorful beer. But yeah, Kramer stayed here also during this hazy IPA craze.
Oh yeah.
I call it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and we kept the recipe as it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's really a classic. Many people come back for it. So there's again more people drinking Kramer again. So.
Yeah, the Kramer's. I liked both of them. It was quite cool for me to come and try these two beers that I know are sort of Bevog classics on the tap. So that was really cool. Yeah. But no, guys, I think I won't take up any more of Vasya's time. But yeah, no, thank you for doing turned into a little meet the brewer rather than a tasting. But that's really cool to do that and always hear the story of the brewery. So yeah, guys, Vasya Goslar, one of the kind of godfathers, I guess, of Slovenian craft brewing. So yeah, thank you.
Hey, great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks.
It doesn't happen often that people from Scotland stop here.
Yeah, yeah. We spread chaos wherever we go. But yeah, no. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Okay, cheers.
Yeah. So when you come up to the bar, you might be greeted by these guys, who I think are pretty cool. Love little wooden carvings like this. These are always pretty awesome to look at. All right, guys. Well, time for our. I guess this is kind of the fifth, maybe sixth tasting. We ended up doing more of a meet the brewery type thing with Vasya there. But yeah, this is our final beer tasting. Now, this is also quite exciting because this is also the first ever sour beer that I'm trying from Bevog Brauhaus. And I've just got a little bit to try because we need to head off in a second. But yeah, this one is called the Lola. It comes in at 3.5% ABV and it is a raspberry and blackcurrant sour beer. So yeah, when this one poured, lovely little bit of a foamy, kind of slightly pink tinted cream head. You can see it's got that lovely bright berry, kind of candy pink colour, I think we can say. But yeah, this looks very, very nice, I have to say. Lovely looking stuff. So let's have a little look at the aroma then and just see what we get out of this one. Yeah. Straight away, it's kind of exactly as you would expect. It's got that lovely, just big candied fruity note to it as well. You can certainly smell the tartness of the berries. Yeah, it's absolutely great. So, backbone of this beer, you get a teeny little bit of bread crust for sure. You get some nice white bread in there. You can smell some of the oaty creaminess as well, and it's almost got a little bit of vanilla in it. So I'm getting a lot of this kind of petit filou yogurt type note. Yeah, a lot of this petit filou yogurt type thing to it. It smells very, very nice, this, I have to say. Yeah, on the hoppy side of things, I think there might be a little bit of hop in this. This is always the thing with these kind of Berliner Weisse, Gose, modern type sour beers. Do you put hops in them? Do you leave it? Some people say it takes away from the sourness of the beer. Some people disagree and say it gives the beer depth. This is the thing. And back in the day with the sour beers, they always put older hops into these beers so that it didn't detract from the sourness. So yeah, on that hoppy side of things, for me, I do get a little bit of floral character and a little bit of a kind of zesty, grassiness. Yeah, I think that goes together really, really nice in this one. A little bit of zesty grassiness, a little bit of floral character, maybe a teeny little bit of smooth earthiness. Let's have a taste of this one then and see how we go. Lovely smelling beer. The fruity side of things, it's just big, big tart black currants and raspberries. Almost as tart as the Scottish ones actually, but you get a little bit of that candied strawberry underneath too. But let's taste this. Sláinte, skål, cheers, prost, na zdravie. My first sour beer here from Bevog Brauhaus. Yeah, that's really nice. Very, very smooth, nice and creamy. I like that. Yeah, pretty sure this is a Berliner Weisse, just going from the kind of flavour profile on it. So a little bit of a kind of bread crusty backbone, absolutely. But then on top of that, you get a nice kind of big smooth white bread, and you can feel the wheat kind of thickening out this beer. At the back of the palate, you can feel there is a bit more of you can feel a bit more of a kind of bigger yeasty character. The white bready yeasty character in this one is slightly bigger, which I really do enjoy. So yeah, big, thicker, white bready note from the yeasty side of things, and the wheat on the back third of the palate, but still very sweet. As you come further forward into that middle third of your palate, you can feel there's a little touch of vanilla to this one. You've got that sort of petit filou yogurt type thing, and yeah, I really like how that goes together in this beer. So yeah, big sort of, as you say, big petit filou yogurty type vibes in the middle of the palate. A little teeny touch of like a Werther's Original butter candy, butterscotchy type thing. But yeah, all of that goes together really, really nicely in this one. On the edges of the palate, there is a little touch of hoppy character, so a wee bit of earthiness, a little bit of a herbal note, and as you go toward the kind of front corners of the palate, there is a teeny little bit of floral note there. But I'm kind of half and half whether this beer has hops in it, because it's quite smooth, but at the same time, round the front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and grassy too, so there might be just a little bit of hop in this one. So fruity side of things then, and the sour side of the beer. So front third of the palate, there's a little bit of that smooth wheaty kind of thing underneath. But then when you take this beer in, it does have a little bit of tartness from the raspberry. You can feel the raspberry just giving you that big sharpness on the beginning, but it smoothens out really nicely. And then you start to get the juicier black currants further into the aftertaste. Whenever you add fruit as an adjunct into these beers, it always kind of spreads a little bit around the edge of the palate there. So you're getting some of that out of this one too. You get a nice juicy raspberry note around the edge of your palate as well. But yeah, flavour wise, this is very, very nice, just down to the last little sip here. So let's do the mouthfeel to round off. So mouthfeel wise for me, definitely not the thickest kind of Berliner Weisse that I've come across, but really smooth and very clean. Got a nice little bit of creaminess to it as well. As I say, we've got that sort of yogurty vibe. Yeah, I think this goes together really, really nicely in that sense. IBU wise, I think we're talking like 5 IBUs, probably technically speaking there's none in it, but I think yeah, 5 to 10 IBUs. The malt base is really nice and smooth. There's a little tiny degree of sweetness to it. You do get a little bit of that butterscotchy butter candy thing. The tartness of this beer, it's got a little bit of sharpness in the beginning, but for me, as I always say, the mark of a good sour beer is how it mellows out, and you get that lovely juicy fruitiness out of this one. And as I say, there's just a teeny little bit of hoppy bitterness to this too. But yeah, very easy drinking beer, this one, a very nice summery beer, and very cool as well to try my first sour beer here at Bevog Brauhaus. So yeah, that is your 5th or 6th, however we're going to look at it. That is your final tasting here at Bevog Brauhaus. So we'll round it off there. I'll give you my final thoughts in a quick segment. And yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Really cool to try my first Bevog sour beer, my first Bevog New England IPA, and also my very, very first cold IPA. Catch you guys in just a second. So yeah guys, one thing you do need to watch out for at Bevog Brauhaus is that you don't get run over by this little mad robot flymo thing. This was really funny to just sit and watch it doing its business throughout this video. Alright guys, well, that is us just finishing off here at Bevog Brauhaus. So I had a really nice couple hours here. It was really cool that Vasya took the time to kind of sit down with us and have a little chat. Ended up as more of a kind of meet the brewer type thing rather than kind of tasting the beer, but still I really enjoyed it, and really cool to talk to somebody like that who is kind of one of the godfathers of a country's craft beer movement. So yeah, big thumbs up to Vasya for taking the time to sit and chat to me a little bit and having a beer. Very cool to try my first New England hazy IPA, my first sour beer from Bevog Brauhaus, and also to try my first cold IPA ever. That was very, very nice. So yeah, the little tasters that I was trying, they cost €1.20 each, so that's like, you know, £1 sterling, maybe $1.40 American. So yeah, very, very nice. And you could see that the cost of the regular beers was between sort of €3 and €5. So yeah, that's between what, about £2.75 sterling and yeah, about £4.50 sterling. And for those of you watching it elsewhere, that's going to be, yeah, what, about maybe $3.50 American to like $6 American. So very reasonably priced here. And you know, we're just over the border into Austria. It will cost you a little bit more than Slovenia, but yeah, really, really cool to come and check out Bevog Brauhaus. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this out and about video. Really, really cool to come here and film this one. This is a brewery I've wanted to visit for quite some time. And big shout out to Primoz behind the bar as well. He was really accommodating and put up with all my kind of bullshit with filming these things, which was kind of cool. So yeah, come and check out Bevog Brauhaus, Bevog Kraft Pivovarna, however we want to call them, here in Bad Radkersburg in Austria. Catch you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be seeing you very, very soon. Alright guys, so yeah, just one teeny tiny little last thing. We tried to pay when we left, but they wouldn't let us, and they also gave us a nice little bag to take away with us, which was really, really cool of them. So yeah, again, big ups to Vasya and Primoz for looking after us here during our time at Bevog. Make sure you come and visit these guys. This is a really nice brewery. As I said, one of the kind of godfathers of Slovenian craft brewing, but located here in Austria. This has been a really, really nice visit. Catch you guys in the next Out and About video very, very soon.